I look at what's happening with the economy right now. Look at the polling data where a lot of people say they're trusting Republicans more when it comes to fighting inflation and dealing with the economy. But the reality is, I think Democrats have been quite weak in terms of how they have been framing this, what's going on. I'm going to show you this here. So Representative Katie Porter, she was actually questioning someone in Congress, breaking down where we stand today when it comes to inflation and how corporations are doing this. And Biden can't do a damn thing about this. Harris can't do anything. Democrats can't do anything. And what is actually driving inflation? Again, this is how I believe you have to actually establish a narrative and then go after folks. Watch this.
According to this chart, what is the biggest driver of inflation during the pandemic? The blue is the dark blue is the recent period.
It would be corporate profits.
And what is that percentage?
It is 54%, and that number does stay that level of high if you update that number to more recent numbers as well.
So over half of the increased prices people are paying are coming from increases in corporate profits.
Yes, the unit price index is reflected in corporate profits as opposed to other costs.
And how does that compare to historically to other periods of inflation or over other periods of economic time?
As reflected there and in other analysis, it is significantly higher in this recovery, 11.5%.
And what is it today?
53%.
So I want to make sure everyone in America understands this chart. What is a unit labor cost?
The cost, wages and associated work costs.
So we could just wages. What is a non-labor input cost?
A variety of things, including maintenance and investments.
Okay, so I have to buy the stuff to make the widget. I have to have a factory. I have to keep the lights on. I have to hire someone to make the widget. That's this stuff. And this is what I add on top.
Now, former Labor Secretary Robert Rice has consistently talked about why we are in the condition that we're in right now. In the UK, inflation is at 10.1%. The new prime minister, she came in and she says, oh, first thing we're going to do is cut taxes. Folks, that completely blew up the economy of the UK, and now they're scrambling, and she might not be able to survive. You want an understanding of what's happening, even when it comes to oil prices? Check this out. Oil companies made $70 billion profit just in the last quarter. Here's President Joe Biden.
So my message to oil companies is this: you're sitting on record profits, and we're giving you more certainty. So you can act now to increase oil production now. The third thing I'm doing is I'm calling on oil companies to pass the savings on to consumers. Consider this. In the second quarter of this year, profits at 6 of the largest producers, publicly traded oil companies, were more than $70 billion. That's $70 billion in just one quarter, 90 days, $70 billion. So far, American oil companies are using that windfall, the windfall of profits, to buy back their own stock, passing that money on to their shareholders, not to consumers. In fact, in the first half of the year, those same companies spent $20 billion buying back their own stock, and most importantly, buying back the most significant buyback in the last almost a decade. That's great if you own a lot of stock in an oil company or if you're an executive at an oil company.
You know, what I don't quite understand here, again, Monique, we see what's going on. We see the record profits. We're actually seeing how all of these companies have been announcing record profits, and they keep raising prices. The reality is this here. All of these companies are trying to make up for what happened the last 2 years in the pandemic. You've got folks on the right saying, oh, it's Biden, it's Harris, it's Democratic policies. The policies literally have nothing to do with these companies raising it. And I just think that I just simply believe that Democrats have not been aggressive enough at telling the American people what the hell is going on. And the fact of the matter is, if the Democrats lose the House and the Senate because of the economy, because of gas prices going up, because of inflation, because of food going up, ain't a damn thing Republicans can do to stop it unless the companies stop raising prices.
Yeah, I mean, but what would you suggest?
Easy. What I would suggest is, on a consistent basis, actually articulating that over and over and over again. The problem is, what they often do is they speak in terms of, you might mention it and then you don't hear for actually 2 weeks. Oh, we're trying this. No, you must use the bully pulpit to actually hammer that. When you look at the polling data, literally right now, you're seeing an 18 to 20 point gap where voters in these polls say they're trusting the Republicans more when it comes to the economy. Who voted against capping insulin at $35? Who voted against the $1,500 going to households in this country? Who voted against infrastructure? Who voted against a number of these things? A lot of the economic items that the Biden-Harris administration has done, Republicans have actually opposed, and now they're sitting here, hey, can we get some of that infrastructure money? Can we get some electric vehicle money? Can we get some of that? And they actually voted against it. You kind of got you have to control the narrative, and I just simply think they have not done that. I also haven't seen, maybe you've seen it, maybe Robert or Joe's seen it, I haven't seen the DNC put out a single commercial literally saying, folks, these corporations are taking money from you. They're the ones who is driving inflation up, driving up food prices, driving up gas prices. You kind of got to make them the boogeyman. They haven't. They've soft shoot it.
Right. Well, I mean, that is said from the White House daily, and
damn
through
sure ain't
multiple
forceful
sources.
enough.
And I don't even know what that means. Does that mean say it louder? Does that mean
actually,
your finger?
No, Monique, you do know what it means. No, Monique, you know what that means.
For a minute, I got to actually answer because I disagree with you. So what I am saying to you is that to say that they're not doing it and say it needs to be more forceful, I translate as it is not being effective because people, whether they are hearing the message or not, are still siding with the Republicans. But I believe factually, people are siding with the Republicans because they are siding against the people who are currently in power because what is happening hurts. Ouch. It's expensive. Everything is expensive. Everybody's wallet is empty. Everybody is feeling the pinch in all different areas, trying to get to their jobs, trying to feed their kids, trying to pay for their gas, trying to do all of these things. And they're doing what our electorate has a history of doing, which is go with the other guy, even if the other guy doesn't have any better ideas, and even if the other guy has been obstructionist. So that is one of the things that happens when times are tight and people want relief. It's not really a question of whether everything that can be done is being done or whose fault it is, though Republicans may want to blame the Biden administration for it. People don't give a damn whose fault it is. They want it to stop. And that is a very tough place to be in, coming out of a pandemic, trying to stay out of a recession, and trying to rescue an entire country with a democracy that is on the line. So I see the press secretary talking about it every day. I read the briefings that are coming out about it. I see the information that's on Twitter about it. I hear the vice president talking about it. I hear the president talking about it. I hear responsible journalists pushing the information out. I see responsible organizations trying to inform the voters about why these issues matter and why they're blaming the wrong people. If there is another way that they can be doing it, I am saying I don't know what the other way or more forceful way looks like when you actually roll it out, unless you're talking about ad buys and ad dollars.
You know what?
And that's one thing, but it's not the black folks, right? It's not the black folks who aren't going to vote the right way. We have a history of getting this right.
Oh, actually,
and I don't know that there's an ad in the world.
No, actually,
I'm just going by the numbers.
No, but you can also,
the black women are voting the right way.
But you
the
can
black
also,
men are right under them.
But you can also be wrong, because when you say voting the right way, it's not a question of who's voting. The question, Joe, is how many are voting. And so the issue is, so you can say black women and black men are voting.
And our numbers aren't low.
But again, black men, you can say black men. And first of all, you have a lot of states that haven't even voted yet. Okay, the issue here, Joe, what I'm talking talking about is
No, I meant
the
past
issue. The
elections,
issue,
full
Joe.
data.
I'm not discussing past elections. I'm discussing the
Okay.
election right now because we're
Well, I
talking
mean,
right now.
we're barely
No.
done.
But I'm talking right now. See, I can't talk
I got
past
it.
elections because past elections you don't have the inflation being what it is right now. The thing,
Right, no, I mean, it's
the
the
thing
only
here.
data
One
we
second.
have.
The thing here, Joe, is very simple, and that is when you talk about how do you control the narrative, how do you frame the narrative. Democrats love to present white papers. They want to sit here and let me just give a long explanation. That doesn't cut it. The reality is the right, even when they are in power, know how to better message. Go.
You know, I tend to agree with you. I think that the point that was made is valid in that people are ultimately self-centered. We want to know, listen, all I know is it costs me $6 a gallon for gas, right? People are absolutely ultimately self-centered because they want their things to be better or whatever else. I had a conversation brief, asked a question of Hakeem Jeffries about this whole thing. And it talked about how, the Democrats basically do their thing and they can often accomplish things, but the narrative is not very good. And so what happens is you have a situation where people will say, because of what they're for and what they're against. They'll say, I'm against you. We all heard it. I'm against Obamacare, but I'll take ACA. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that we need to do better in terms of people understanding where we stand, understanding what actually has been accomplished. Even in the last 2 years, they accomplished a great deal. The Democrats actually did. But the problem is, among other things, of course, inflation is a thing, et cetera, and there needs to be a narrative. I like what Katie Porter said. That was even some additional information for me in terms of the specific numbers. There are things that you can do very simply to give people simple messages about where things are. Now, if people aren't voting for you knowing what they ought to know,
right,
that's a horse of another color. But I do think that they are missing some information. Democrats do a poor job of circulating information as simply as they could for all of the attempts that they make, to the point of a sister. But we have to take it, break it down, and let people know where it actually we stand in simple language so that they're taking or leaving us based on actual information.
Robert, you can make the final comment here. Here's the deal. Democrats really spent a lot of time thinking that the Dobbs decision was going to be the key motivator. You're seeing right now what's the top two issue, and that's actually number 3. You still got to address the boogeyman, and that is the economy, and you got to be able to do it in an effective way. I just think they haven't.
Well, Roland, one of my professors at Clark Atlanta years ago, Professor Johnny Wilson, said the point of education and work is to be able to translate the OR to the OR for your community, trying to translate the original language to the ordinary language, the ability to break down these conceptualizations around international macroeconomics into a terminology that the normal person can understand. I'll give you an example of the difference between Republicans and Democrats. Let's take gas prices, for example. Democrats would say, and using your point about truth in economics, that if you compare us to the economic markets of Europe, in the UK, they've had 6 years basically of Trumpian economics. Boris Johnson into Liz Truss, massive tax cuts for corporations. For the first time in history, we're seeing the British pound trading below the United States dollar. You're seeing 10.5% inflation in the UK. The equivalent price of gas per gallon there will be around $12 a gallon compared to the $3 a gallon that we pay here. This is a result, of course, of the OPEC plus cartel cutting oil production by 2 million barrels a month. You're talking about Russia, the 8th largest oil producer in the world, being taken off the market, and that's the result. And then combine that with corporate profits, that's how you get the gas prices. That's how Democrats would explain it away. Republicans would just say, drill, baby, drill, and keep it moving. So until you can condense that entire conversation on international macroeconomics into something along the lines of drill, baby, drill, and energy independence, it's difficult to articulate what's really happening because Republicans speak on about a third grade level. Studies have been shown on this. Democrats have a bad habit of talking on a college freshman level, which makes it difficult to connect with voters. We saw this in the Warnock versus Walker debate, where Senator Warnock was making a point about reproductive rights, and then Herschel Walker just had to say, but there's a baby up in there. And people understood what he was saying. So it's about translating that original language to the ordinary language that people can understand. And you're paying these consultants millions of dollars. They should be able to develop these ideas.
And it's amazing they can't. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Welcome to Atlanta, one of the most expensive housing markets in America. But rather than help out, Brian Kemp cashed in. he made hundreds of thousands of dollars in real estate. His net worth skyrocketed. And while Atlantans struggled to stay in their homes, Kemp gave $10,000 tax handouts to the richest Georgians and a nearly $700 million no-bid contract to his campaign donor, Brian Kickback Kemp, making Georgia work for him, not you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?